I was asked to, so let me go back there. I was asked to look at problem 3.7, and let me see if I can get us started on that. I think actually plotting things in decimals might be a good way to kind of look at it. I could draw all this stuff using my notepad thing. But it might be nice to see the coordinates and kind of see things laid out that way. So as I look at this, they mentioned the 10 feet per second. It's, this thing's heading east. It's heading this direction at 10 feet per second, the combine. But I'm not going to worry about that yet. I want to kind of map out all this stuff. So I have a wheat field with a radius of 200 feet and a combine that starts 60 feet north and 60 feet west of the westernmost edge of the field. So I guess right here, not right there, but right there. And so I think I'm going to put the center at 0, 0, just because it will be easier to write the things. So I have a circle of radius 200 centered at 0, 0. So I can write here x squared plus y squared equals 200 squared. Okay, now it doesn't show up. Well, no, because I need to go clear out to 200 here to see it. Now I think I'll click here and do bold settings so you can see that a little better. I could go here and change the color to blue and say done. I don't know if blue shows up better or worse, but I could do that. Now I need to go 60 more feet this way and 60 feet up. Well, that's a point, and it's at minus 260 and 60 feet up. So there is the combine. Now it happened to do that in blue. I could leave it in blue. Again, I could go up here, and if I don't want them all to be the same color, I could use black, or I could use orange or something like that. Yeah, black shows up pretty nice for the dot there. So there's the combine, and it's going to go along a path here. Well, that's y equals 60, so I could add that in there, y equals 60. So I have that line, and I can see that it, where it hits here, and get a, and actually see numerically just kind of where that is right off. Now that's where the center of the combine hits, but the combine's 20 feet wide, right? So you actually would be 10 feet on either side of this. So I could put in something like, a y equals 70. That's the top, and a y equals 50. That's the bottom of the path. And again, I might want these to both be the same color, so just so I don't get confused. I could make that one orange and that one orange, and say done. And so there's the path I cut. And if I click this, I can get that point. And if I click this one, I could get that point and see what they are. Okay, so I can do that to kind of help me out in what's going on. Now let's go back to this, and so they had the swath of the cut was 20 feet. I assume it's on 10 feet on either side of the center of the combine. So I did that. So I got those lines, and it says when does Nora's rig first start cutting the wheat. Now that's an interesting question there, and we'd have to run all the way through the problem and then look at the answer to try to see what they use for an answer. But I can see actually this sort of coming up with two possible answers, if you're sort of not careful. Okay, I would argue that you start cutting the wheat when you first hit the boundary down here. Okay, so this boundary. So I think you first start cutting the wheat at this value, negative 193.649, as far as the position. Okay, and so if that is the answer, well, so I can get the distance that I've gone, because I've gone to that x value. Okay, and it's in a straight line. So even though the dots don't look like they're in a straight line, well, the edge of the combine is in a straight line. And so I've gone from minus 260 to minus 193.6. So I can figure out what that distance is just along that line by taking the minus 193.68 or whatever that is. Okay, I'll go back here, I can click on it. No, it was 649. So I can take that 649 and subtract my minus 260, and so I've gone 66.351 feet. Now that's not the answer they're looking for, that's the distance, right? Now it could be I'm wrong, and in the back of the book possibly they want this distance that goes with the 190 minus 190.788. I don't know. I haven't looked at the answer. And I couldn't necessarily tell just by looking at those, but this is 66 feet. This one would be just a little bit longer since that's 190 instead of 193. It would be somewhere around 69 feet. Okay, my guess is that's what the back of the book is expecting for one of the two answers. Either this answer that I did, which I would say is the correct answer because it's when you first hit the wheat field, or the back of the book was using the center of the combine. I bet they didn't. I bet they used this line right down here. Okay, and so that's the distance. Now, that's not how they want you to find the distance. What they want you to do is take y equals 50 and substitute it in here and solve x squared plus y equals 50. So I'll put in 50 squared equals 200 squared. They want you to solve that. Notice this actually does give an answer, gives two answers, this side and that side, as it should. And it actually, there's the point I'm interested in. And notice it's the minus 193.649. So they want you to solve that. And of course, well, the way they want you to solve it is so I'll subtract 50 from both sides, 50 squared from both sides, put a minus, and there we are again. And well, if I'm not sure what that number is, I'll do a Control C to copy it. I'll put it right down here, Control V, and that number is 3750. Oh, I needed my square root, right? I need to take the square root of this thing. So I'll highlight it and I'll type oh, that didn't do it, SQRT. I thought it would keep it in there, but now I'll do a Control C to copy and a Control V to paste. And there, oh, look at that. I recognize that number, 193.649. So see, that's what they want you to do, and you should do it. You should practice your algebra to get these things. But that, you're getting a distance that way. Now, once I have the distance, I have the rate. And remember that, distance equals rate times time. Okay, well that means if I have the distance and I have the rate, I can find the time. Time is distance divided by rate. Well, so I have the distance, 66.351. So I'll take that, and I'll do it right up here. I'll just highlight that whole thing. Now I'm going to divide by, and I think everything was in the right units, right? It was 10 feet per second, and 200 feet, 60 feet, everything's in feet and then seconds. And so when does Nora's rig start doing this? Then I believe we just need to divide this by 10, and so we'll get 6 point something, 6.6351. And so I believe that is the answer the back of the book should have. Now it's possible they'll have 6.9 because again they may have used the center instead of this edge, but let's go look. Problem 3.7, let's go all the way down here to the answers, and this is 3.7a. Answers are in here somewhere. What are we at? That's chapter 8. Oh, right there. And see, 6.92 seconds. They are wrong. Okay, I'm just going to say that they're wrong. But notice I guessed where they might come up with an answer. And what they did was they said they started cutting wheat when the center of the combine hit the wheat. Not true. They would have started cutting wheat when the edge of the combine started cutting wheat. So if I were to give this exact same problem on an exam, I would expect an answer of 6.6. And an answer of 6.9 would be wrong. Now, it would be mostly right, because all the other calculations are probably right if you end up with 6.9. But, they're wrong in the sense that, well, if you want to know when it first starts cutting wheat, it's when the edge hits the edge. Because if you pick the center, well, why shouldn't I pick this edge when the combine is fully in the wheat? Okay, so the correct answer really is 6.6, but their answer and probably other answers are going to be based on the 6.9. And so where did that come from again? Well, I can fix that pretty quickly by going here, clicking on that, finding that point. That was 190.788. Okay, so I'm going to just copy this whole thing, Control C, paste it down here, Control V, and make that the 190.778. And see, you get the 6.92, which is, I think, what they had, right? 6.92, right? And so, then the 7.67 seconds, as you look at that, I got to go back to the book here, so let's try. I should have looked at what the heck page we were on. This is chapter 2, so I got to go down here, find chapter 3. Chapter 3. Oh, chapter 4, sorry about that. I didn't pay attention to what page I was on. Oh, that's chapter 3 still. Okay, exercises. Here we go. 3.7. In B, when does Nora's rig first start cutting a swath 20 feet wide? Okay. Now that one, I believe they probably have the right answer, because at 20 feet wide, right, that's what we've talked about, that would be up at this point, or when you're at the 70. And so that is at the minus 187. So that adds 3 more feet. And so if I'm dividing by 10, that's 0.3. So 3 more feet would be, well, I think that's 3 more feet, right? 190, yeah, so that's about 3 more feet. So it should be about 7.2. Is that what they had? Now we got to go way back down. And find that again. Where are we? Oh, that's chapter 20. That's no good. Still chapter 20. Here we go. Oops, that's problems. Yeah, I really should pay attention to what page numbers these things are. Okay, 7.67 seconds. I haven't tried the problem, but I don't think that's right. I think that answer should be 7.2 something. And again, or 7.3 something. And I'm basing that on that distance is, I'm now at negative 187 as opposed to 190, which is what they were, they used here to get the 6.9. That's 3 more feet, but divided by 10, that's 0.3. That looks like 7.2 or something like this, 7.2 or 7.3. If I use this one, it's 6 more feet. And again, the answer up here was 6.6. If I add 0.6, I get to 7.2. So now their answer is wrong. So if in asking about this question, if you had already gotten some answers, I would argue that those first 2 answers in the back are incorrect, and they should be 6.6 and then 7.2. But I don't know. And then then I'm guessing the 38.6 seconds is 38.16 seconds is something like when do they get done. And then what's the area? Well, the area I don't know, but it's no bigger than going from this minus 193 to that 193, okay, because I can make that rectangle. So it's no bigger than that, so you're bounding it from above by making a rectangle here. Let me scoot in here a bit on the picture, right? So if I start here and make a rectangle that big, I can tell you the length of the side because it's twice that x value. So that bounds it from above, because the area is actually smaller because the circle's cutting in like this instead of being the rectangle. And then if I go up here and I use this one, well, that's too small, that rectangle, if I cut straight down. So if I use this number, I'll get a number that's too small, but then I can bound the answer from below, and that is what they're doing here, is they're bounding from below using that top line to form a rectangle, and bounding above using the bottom line to make a bigger rectangle that they know is bigger than the area. This is an important idea in math and physics, is bounding an unknown. I may not be able to tell you the exact answer, but I can tell you that it's between these 2 values, and hopefully those 2 values are correct. We can check the bottom one real quick here. That would be the smaller rectangle. So that would be the 187. Well, let's check the bigger one because I've already got that number typed in. So the bigger one, 7632. So let me check that. I'll take that number. Okay, that's half the width. I'll copy it, Control C. I'll take 2 times that, 2 times that number, Control V, and then multiply again by the height, which was 20. And I get 7745. What did they have? 7, 6. I don't know where they are getting their numbers. I think these are all wrong. Again, you know, I can tell you exactly where this one is from. Let's go back. My one possibility is I am interpreting what they're writing incorrectly. And so let's try to find that again. Of course, I didn't pay attention to the number again. And so, you know, I could stop this video and start it again after I figure all this out. But see, I think it's very important for you to realize, you know, I can read things incorrectly, or it could be that they're just not clear. Okay? Let's see. Or I'm just not clear. Operator error. The combine cuts a swath 20 feet wide and begins when the corner of the machine labeled A. Ah, that's what I missed. Corner of the machine. So that is the bottom right hand corner. So I did mess my picture up. This is the bottom. And that is the top, and I need to get rid of that. And so I take back what I said. Their answer of 6.9 is correct because it would come from this number right here, the 190, and that's what we used. Okay, so I read that wrong, and so we wanted to use that, and then 20 feet higher. And now if I use the 190 in here, I'm sure we'll get their lower level answer. So I'll put that 190 in here, and that was from here up, so that should be the biggest answer. So the lower level of the combine, 7631. And again, we drop down, yet I'm still not paying attention to the page numbers. Silly me. And so was that right in there? No, that was the exercises for that. And so right in here, oops, wrong one, still a wrong one. There we go. 7632, well, I got 7631. We'll call it good enough. Either theirs or mine, not sure which one. But you see, so I misread, and so I had this in the wrong spot. I had the right mechanism, so on that exam I would have lost points and you would have gotten extra points, I guess, when we figured out that I was wrong. Okay, so you know, I wouldn't take this answer as the correct answer, but I'd give it some points. And you know, so let's get that one out of there so nobody sees it. And the 50, oh, I can fix that pretty quickly. Make that 60, and that one's 60 because that was that bottom corner, and there we get that 190 again. from that. So we were using the right techniques, and actually I'm most interested in using the right techniques. You may read something a little incorrectly. Yes, you will lose some points, just like I just lost some points. But you will get most of the points because, yes, it's the right attack on the problem. And so we got there. I misread it. Sorry about that. But I'm not sorry about, the idea of showing, well, yeah, I can make mistakes too. I can misread things, but I kind of checked possibilities. I rechecked because I thought, well, it's weird that they got all those answers wrong. It can happen. I've seen that sort of thing happen in a book, but I thought, I'm not really buying it. So I rechecked myself. And sure enough, I read the problem incorrectly or incompletely anyway. And so there we go. There's a lot spent on that problem, more than I would have liked to in many ways. But again, I think it's important for you to see that, I can make mistakes, but I usually catch my own, just as I did this time. How do I do that? Well, I keep checking myself. Well, it seemed right. And I thought, well, but something seems kind of wrong. So I looked it over again and again, and I finally found where I went wrong. Okay? So there we have a very long explanation of 3.7.